Hi, we are live, and we are back with the science of sound. The first time in a little while, we have Ominous, the beatboxer, returning with us.
Hang on, good news, everyone!
Exotic Propulsion Jeremiah, our lab technician.
Yo, what's up, homeboy?
Word. And our special guest, Jodi B, Jodi B Music. How are you, sister?
Hi, really good, man. How you doing?
Very good, and stoked to finally have you on. And you guys, you and it's your husband, correct? You're married, your fiance,
Mm-hmm.
husband. Yes, Justin. You're doing exactly what we should be doing in life, following our dreams, and you've built a studio, and you have one heck of a good music studio out in the Okanagan. And well, I guess maybe start off by telling us about it a little bit.
Yeah, so it's a recording studio and a rehearsal space and a plant shop and a coffee shop recently as well. And I co-own it with my mother. My mother's my business partner. And it used to be a winery that used harmonic frequencies from the recordings to clear the sediment out of the wine. So that was kind of the principle of how the winery started and how it's evolved. And so we still keep aspects of it, like the Chladni plate and showing how solfeggio frequencies look, like through cymatics. And then we've just incorporated that into our business model of having the recording studio and the coffee shop and the plant shop.
I love it because it's exactly what I'd be doing and exactly what I'm doing. So we will be doing many more of these, and whether you just don't have a choice at this point, you're now officially part of Science of Sound, and the aspects of actually utilizing the Solfeggio frequencies and for processes of it's after the fermentation, correct, to get the sediment out or
At one point, yeah, with the winery, like I wasn't really involved in that. I was an employee at the time, but that's how they would, I think they kind of discovered it by accident by more or less just having the wine barrels in the same room where they were drumming all the time. And they noticed some of the sediment at the bottom of the barrels were forming in these shapes, in some patterns that solfeggio frequencies have.
That is absolutely epic and awesome, and how most of the best science discoveries happen is by accident, and that what you've just described is very similar to another video that I've seen. It was a process of a guy that was making through electrolysis the monoatomic silver that I do, but he was also then putting in a certain solfeggio frequency into the solution, and it was creating plasmids. So like it was organizing, just like you described, these specific geometrical patterns, and specifically like sacred geometry ones and of the solfeggios and stuff of their actual cymatic geometry. And that when it formed, I forget the exact specifics of what he described of what he was doing, but when he combined multiple of the frequencies from multiple angles, it literally started lighting up in the center of each of these little plasmoid bubble structures and was creating the star in the jar effect, the super cavitation, I believe. Is that correct, Jeremiah?
Well, I'm not familiar with this case that you're talking about, but if you have high enough sonic resonance inside of a high purity liquid, then there are certain states where the cavitation can happen so quickly that the pressure builds to a fusion point, and you end up getting a luminous cavitation fusion event, and that's where the star and jar bright bluish white blink comes from.
Yeah, yes. But it's super cavitation when the light aspect happens, I believe, right?
Right. Yeah, cavitation is generally just considered the erosion away against a surface from a fast velocity collapsing hydraulic fluid, or alternatively a collapse of a stretched out amount of fluid that had some gaseous content, where you get a separation going into gas because of the pressure differential, and then it goes back into a liquid very quickly and causes this fast acceleration. But supercavitation is a little different. So that's when you have a very symmetrical cavitation event, or one that's, it can either be axially symmetrical or omnidirectionally symmetrical, which means that spherical shape would be omnidirectionally symmetrical. It's the same in all directions. And then axially symmetrical would mean like you have basically like a donut kind of shape, or you have a mushroom head type of shape. But if you go, and rotate around, it is the same from the center axes. Either case, these types of symmetrical events equal the collapse. The right side and the left side and the top and the bottom side, they all come in rushing towards each other, and they all slam into position in the center. And the velocity is so extreme that it literally rips the electrons right off the water molecules. And it will leave the nuclei exposed. And so they'll slam into each other, and you can get actually, fusion events of the protons in the hydrogen nuclei to fuse into two proton combinations. So you can get helium and two neutrons as well.
So essentially, theoretically, if you're doing this within the body or the human body, you could be creating fusion, or it'd be either really harmful or really good, if depending on I guess.
As far as I've researched on it, the body doesn't have a whole lot of mechanisms to produce any kind of cavitation. It's not a particularly common function of the body. I know that there are certain ways that cavitation can be produced for the purpose of transmuting elements, but I believe there are other approaches to it. And instead of considering high energy cavitation collapse, we could consider other modes of transmutation, like, for example, exotic vacuum objects, which use extraordinarily intense magnetic fields to do the electron shearing and produce the acceleration potentials for nuclei to slam into each other.
It's fascinating, especially when you talk about light beings. But that's for another day. More specifically, back to what Jodi, at your place, do you still have the equipment from the original winery?
No, we don't. Which was basically just like wine barrels and speakers strapped to it. No, we don't have that, but we do have a Chladni plate still.
I guess like the speakers you probably have in your recording studio would probably be higher quality than what they had, or
you would need to attach them to the barrel correctly, or arrange them in a correct phase so that you could get these types of patterns. Because you're taking a Chladni plate is a little different, because you're moving the physical plate up and down directly, and the plate itself is the diaphragm. And in the case where you're superimposing a Chladni pattern onto something that's stationary, you have to create the vibrations transitory to that stationary platform. So if it's the bottom of a wood oak barrel, then you've got to create a standing wave inside the barrel at its resonant frequency, or at one of its harmonics.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wasn't really a part of that when it was a business there. I just know that when people would come in and they got to talk about, how frequencies make them feel, and when they could actually see a visual to how sound looks, excuse me, then it would open up a lot of different conversations that you would normally have with people. And so we just knew that we had to keep that aspect of the business.
Oh, most definitely. That is a really interesting approach too. I mean, it's certainly, as far as the novelty of a certain approach to brewing or producing any other product, that kind of thing is an upsell and in a good market strategy. So you have something that nobody else has. It makes it stand out, and it's unique.
Right. Well, so one of the goals of my Science of Sound series is to eventually be creating music that heals, and it's by putting in the right frequencies that you play. You engineer the music to be actually putting out healing frequencies that properly resonate with the human biofield, and that the Solfeggio frequencies keep coming up in this aspect of it. And have you ever experimented with any of the solfeggios, Jodi?
Not actually in my own music, but I listen to them every night when I sleep.
And how do you find that effect? Like, there's positive effects from it?
I like to believe so. I also, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I bought these little headphones that sit flat on your belly. They're like actually for this purpose, but I would just play these frequencies as well through my phone and then through these speakers and then put them on my belly. So she was kind of like in a sound bath. But I like to think too that, I mean, when you're playing these specific frequencies right beside like a sound bowl or a singing bowl, those are probably resonating more with you physically than if you were to listen to them through a digital device like your phone. But I just, yeah, I play them every night with my phone and makes me fall asleep and have a pretty restful sleep. But I'm sure I'd get more, I don't know, actually like healing properties from it if it was maybe like an actual the sound was coming from something, tangible, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And another aspect of it is the coils, and that you want the right coil as a speaker. And what motivated me and pushed me to start this series was the first interview that I ever conducted, where I was the host and interviewing, was with this Rick guy, and he was former U.S. Navy researcher, and he was telling me about, and he actually sent me the specific toroid coil designs that he and a couple of friends had built from after they retired from the military and were experimenting with, and that he stated that they played one note through it that made them crap themselves, literally. So he verified the legendary brown note for me, but then also was stating that through the solfeggios, they were able, like the military was doing some sort of experimenting on like healing with it and stuff. It was quite fascinating, but he couldn't go into too much detail due to an NDA that he had. And
That's super cool.
the coils and being able to do the full cymatic through it.
You got any pictures of those?
Yeah, somewhere. I'll try to pull them up.
Unless you've
I
got
knew
the
that
coils
would be
hanging around, just show them.
Yeah, you still.
I have yet to build them. He was also stating that it was best to use an alloy of 95% bismuth, I believe, 5% aluminum. But good luck.
What, as the conductor for the coil?
Yeah, as the wire for the coil.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see those diagrams. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it'll take me a minute to pull it up on my Google Drive, but I should be able to. Ominous. Do you want to do a little interlude, good sir?
Yeah, that. I just need to get to the frequency. Sound of science. Back to you, BurnEye.
All right. That was
Very nice. Yes. Sick.
Thanks.
love it. Right? And another aspect of the science of sound and music more specifically is how much it connects to like the roots of humanity, like the soul, the spirit, even like the tribalistic, like I'll trying to put it into words properly of the different cultures with like throat singing and the ancient languages that seem to be like a full harmonic like syllable, if that makes sense. Like
leads up to euphoria either way.
yeah, right. Like
It's a lifestyle. I mean, it's definitely more than just a hobby for many, and especially when so much depends on it to secure your happiness and creativity for that matter. Or something.
right, yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why it's so important, like in one's life, like that you play a certain song at a certain instant, like important time or event in your life, that then later on in life you hear that same song, it'll always bring you back into that moment and connect you throughout time. Or when you're in a depressed mood, you'll play depressing music, but like you'll feel good about it, but you'll go into like that depressed spiral cycle sort of thing, and it'll like keep
Open
you
the
in
door,
it.
yeah, towards trauma, possibly if it's a really bad situation. But it also can, of course, remind you it's a memory, and in any case, it definitely has its pros and cons on that front. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing, is that it's like you then will hear or play a different song that will bring you back to a more happy time and just instantly change and uplift your mood and shift your reality, sort of thing.
But it depends on your mood too. Like you're going to listen to different music when you go to bed as opposed to when you wake up. You want certain music that's going to give you energy, or some that's going to soothe you, or some that's going to just be melodic for whatever purpose. But I mean, it's always at different timing, even during the day, that it can really be imperative that you listen to specific music that could, either make you or break you for that day, possibly. You're not going to listen to drum and bass right before you go to bed. Well, some people do. But some people listen to it right when they wake up because maybe they got something going on. They want to make sure that just it depends on the mood and the time. I
Right.
find.
Very good point. Like, I remember a lot of times I will literally put on drum and bass like in front of the mirror when you like first wake up to like try to like get yourself pumped if you have a busy day or like something to do like that. Or especially like snowboarding, doing something thrilling, invigorating, get yourself up and going mentally, as opposed to something slow or put you right back to sleep, or binaural beats and stuff like that that are designed to help you sleep and affect your sleep.
Yeah, it's true. It also opens doors to a lot of subliminal things too, either good or bad. So that's another thing. Music also can either be good or bad for it, depending on the individual. If it can manipulate them in a way to change or alter their life in some sort of way that, sometimes music can be detrimental to, one's actions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's many instances of that, and it seems to be the case of mainstream music, pop culture, and many deep conspiracy rabbit holes on that topic, but we don't necessarily have to go down there tonight, unless you guys want to talk
Well, let's
about
go
it.
down one of them. Okay, so let's talk about a type of sound that most people don't really think about much, and it's one that people don't think about because you can't hear it, but you can feel it. It's called infrasound, also known as subsonics. Infrasound falls at very, very low frequencies, and people normally think about sound waves traveling in a longitudinal mode. What's that mean? Well, they think about a sound wave as it's sort of like a wave on the water. It has a compression, a peak and a valley, a compression and an expansion. But there's a different type of sound called a scalar wave, and this can change the pressure in a room. And at ultra low frequencies, the entire room will change pressure where basically anywhere you are in that whole entire space, you're not going to really be at a specific node point because there isn't one. The frequency is so low and the wavelength is hundreds of times longer than the room is far across, that you end up just with the pressure of the room going up or going down. And what this does is increases the pressure inside your body and inside your lungs and decreases it, cyclically. So this type of sound will affect us in really interesting ways. The other reason is it can change the relative external pressure surrounding the skull to the intracranial pressure. And this also causes some tremendous changes in the brainwave states and the amount of blood getting to the brain and the way the chemicals are being produced, because a lot of those, they fall in a delicate balance at standard atmospheric temperature and pressure, which is why, we experience strange phenomena as we go up in altitude. Our ears pop. But beyond that, we also experience unusual brain states that go beyond just simply the change in altitude or the density of the air. It has to do with the pressure and the change of pressure over time. So infrasound is all around us. We don't really think about it. The refrigerator that you have in your kitchen, its motor, its pump produces an infrasound. You feel it if you put if you stand right next to the refrigerator when it's working, you'll feel the pump vibrating, and maybe if the pump is getting old, you can hear it producing a low 60 hertz hum. But there's also a mechanical vibration that is produced with it. Diesel engines driving by, or if you're by railroad tracks, very large engines
What's
from
your
trains produce
what's your
infrasound.
opinion on wind turbines and what that's done to people living by them? Do you figure that
Wind
that's
turbines are tremendously detrimental to the human psyche for
they have a
two reasons. One, the ideal operational frequency of a wind turbine passing by a stationary observer for a 3-blade turbine, and all the most common sizes will end up generating an infrasonic signal that goes into the extremely deep brainwave states and can produce other destructive properties in terms of the pressure differentials in the body, because it is basically like a giant speaker. Each time that blade goes past, it produces a sound wave, and so no matter where you stand, that sound wave will eventually reach you. The closer you are, the worse it is. The other problem with it is not in the sonic capabilities or disruption, but it has to do with the shadows that are cast. So in a lot of locations, there are legal regulations that dictate you can't put a turbine up anywhere where the sun can cast a shadow from the blades moving past a window of a nearby residence, meaning that it has to be far enough away on the horizon where the shadow from the blades can't actually produce a flickering or fluttering effect of shadow and sunlight on that window. And the reason for why is people that are seizure prone could actually have a seizure from it.
Yeah. Wow, that would suck.
Yeah, but all these things are stuff that wind turbine manufacturers have to think about. But what us, and the audience today and on the panel need to think about is what kind of other ways are infrasonic signals produce these ultra low frequency sounds that we can't really hear, but we can feel in our bodies, in our chest, in our heads. What are the sources of those are there? Well, there's a big one that we don't really pay attention to, and it has to do with the Earth circuit. So we have two different forms that the infrasound can come in. One, it can come from the motion of telluric waves due to piezoelectric expansion and contraction of elements within the Earth's crust. So we're talking about, very low frequency ground tremors that you won't really notice, but maybe if you have a glass of water sitting up on your table, it'll be like in that moment in Jurassic Park where that glass of water is sitting in the cup holder of one of the vehicles, and the T-Rex is stomping by, and you see the little ripples come across the front. So I've had that sitting out. I've had a glass of water sitting out on my desk many times and didn't hear a thing, but I could see those ripples traveling across the surface because of the infrasound in this building, because we were close to railroad tracks. The other source of infrasound, besides telluric currents and piezoelectrics that have to do with ground vibrations and earthquake behavior, is signals actually coming from, or sound waves actually coming from the atmosphere. So solar activity and fluctuations in Earth's geomagnetic field can turn the entire atmosphere, which is filled with positive ions, constantly drifting down, about 400 million amps of them, constantly drifting down. Well, it can turn those into an electrostatic speaker and produce ultra low frequency waves because of the Earth's fluctuating magnetic field position. And so all those charged particles will produce pressure changes at ground level, and they can even cause spontaneous storms or other things like that. So yeah, we're surrounded by infrasound, and it's the part of the science of sound that we don't really pay attention to, but we should. And we should be aware of
tinnitus or tinnitus, or like what causes that with sound frequency?
So tinnitus is a breakdown in the internerve communication that comes off the little hairs inside the cochlea, and going through and entering part of the brain, which is very close to the temporal lobe. And the reason for why is sound is entirely related to frequency. And so we have these temporal lobes, and they actually help us track, in addition to other parts of the brain, which are specifically for clock frequencies. All those parts are tied in when it comes down to sound. So what happens in tinnitus is those little hairs inside the ear, they get damaged. And normally we're surrounded by white noise all the time. We don't really think about just how loud the silence is around us, but that silence is normally 15 to 35 decibels, and it's just white noise. It's noise that we don't even hear. We would say it's completely quiet in here, right? But if you compare that to an anechoic chamber, it would be blazingly loud. The idea is, though, when the ears are working correctly, that white noise, it keeps those little nerve fibers and those little hairs all in check, so that the brain is constantly receiving auditory signal across the whole frequency band. But when tinnitus hits, you have a breakdown in the communication signal between the cochlea and the part of the brain responsible for syncing the temporal aspect of that sound and breaking it down or combining it with other information. So that part of the brain that processes the frequency, that frequency band, it's not getting information from the ear. So it starts to loop back on itself, and it actually creates its own frequency. That's the center frequency of specifically that part of the brain, that bundle of nerves that's responsible for processing that range. So to get rid of tinnitus, there's actually a treatment. And there are some online softwares. I don't know if they're still around or not. I tried it myself. It worked. I used to have tinnitus really bad. I have none of it anymore. Because I was a sound designer and I worked in the show industry, but I pumped in my frequency. I let the algorithm basically run it, and what it does is it pumps back up. You match the frequency that you're hearing in your ear with this online generator. And so when the sound from your speakers or your headphones matches the frequency that you're hearing in your ear, you hit go, and it'll generate a Solfeggio style frequency mix that contains that frequency which you're having tinnitus with as the center frequency, and two other frequencies to also create a beat between the center frequency and the other two. Anyways, you listen to that basically for a few minutes a day for about a week or so, and before you know it, your tinnitus is basically gone.
Nice. Oh, that's sweet. Do you think the white noise is from the Big Bang?
Well, I mean, the thing is, the noise that I'm referring to, it's acoustic, right? So it's happening inside of an atmospheric environment. You go out into space, you have electromagnetic background radiation and other types of noise that are electromagnetic noise, but you don't have any physical matter that is there to vibrate and transfer a sound wave kinetically. So it's a bit different. No, I don't. I think that you have a tremendous amount of noise from the Big Bang, if such a thing even existed, which, I have my own model of it that is different than the Big Bang model. And
Nice.
that's not, the science of sound, unless we get into the dynamics of that whole system. But, more importantly, no, I think this is just what you're hearing in terms of the white noise is entropy at work. You're listening to the actual entropic distribution of thermal and kinetic energy being produced by many means. Some of them are heat sources or appliances, or you physically moving around and air moving. or just vibrations in the environment produced by any number of different things. But all this stuff adds together, and it ends up producing a pretty wideband audio.
Science of sound. Oh yeah.
That's so cool. Thank you for all that amazing info.
So that's why I like white noise, essentially, is what you're saying, is it's like filling this void, or that we were talking what triggers that rabbit hole of conspiracies. So it's like I've heard that they broadcast these different frequencies to try to like subdue the population and essentially also suppress like intuitiveness or telekinetic natural abilities, stuff like that. And that essentially, with what you explained, it would make sense that putting on other white noise locally might be appealing because it's blocking these other acoustic, what do you call it again? Acoustic resonance? Or
Are
wave?
you talking about the name of the sound waves that are being produced?
Yeah, sound wave.
Oh, okay. Say again. I didn't hear him.
Oh, no one hears me? My bad. Can you hear me?
I
I
can.
can hear you. Hi, Hollohan.
Hey, Jodi, how are you, love?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Hello, Ken. You look amazing, by the way, brother. I haven't seen
Oh.
you so long. You look so good.
Yes. How have you been?
You know how it goes, brother. But you look great. It's funny, man. I still have. We knew each other when we were like 21. You had this shaved head. Both of us, I guess. Actually, so did I. That's funny, actually.
Good times. Good times.
Right? We've evolved. Right?
A little bit.
Awesome.
Good to see.
Right, and so something else why I invited Hollohan is that we're also trying to start Freestyle Fridays as a music themed
Let's do it.
live stream.
Let's go.
Right, so
We got Ken here. He'll lay the beat.
right, yeah, you guys want
Go
to do
get it, man.
Go for it.
Are we doing one right now? Are you serious?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll bust a beat. Check it out. I'll do something mid
Will
slow.
it work in real time? Like, will it work on here, or like it won't be a
We
weird
can
delay?
try. We'll see what happens. If it's a little sloppy, I apologize. But we'll
Oh, you're
go
the
from
best
there.
for that. I'll just stick with the call with the Alchemist, man. That stock might get caught with an ounce of meth. I guarantee that I ain't really going back on house arrest. Right? Got the guy making all the sound effects. Everything that I've been counting best. Kelly said he ain't even counting this. Tell me the rest of the cash counterfeit. So I ain't even gotta really have a mouth to it against the paddle. The powerless used to be proud to know how to quit now. We'll never get out of it. We was down as kids. We just spend of allowances. Bunch of grown men, and we wonder where them thousands went. Right? And I'm still here with Jodi B, OGG, fucking dirt bastard ODB. Don't ever tell me there's no for free, because I could go for weeks and never spoke to me. Who are you? Okay, Bishop gets sit-ups and tell him that I get lifted. He tells her he don't get written, so I always freestyle from the best bit, you know? That's how it is with that.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty dope, pretty good. I will be getting better equipment set up at my new studio, which should get rid of the little glitches there.
I
And
guess it's hard for you to pay for a new studio when you still haven't paid off the 20 grand for all your student loans. Plus, you broke both your cars that was stuck on cruise control, is what you said. I mean, I admit I was a loser, bro. So, right, move it slow, right? Lose your tone. It's like you can't even use your phone. I told you to get signal, right? Still, I had somebody ratchet think that just shingles, right? Like,
luckily, I have no student debt.
I got it's a good debt. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right, and I guess they're trying to buy votes and eliminate all the student debts. So hopefully, I don't know. right?
How'd that work in the States? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, do you even get into politics here? No, we do not discuss politics because you just never know. Like, it could,
Yeah, I thought we don't speak on student debt. I also thought the most thing you do is talk about me on the movie set, the best actor around, but you would never knew it yet. Right? You're about to see it now. Who's in the flesh? No, I know what we talk about, aliens and other shit that people never walk around, right? But we had seen it, man. My boy's the Alchemist, and it's amazing. And oh, I can't even say that. That's what are we allowed to say on YouTube? Actually, I forget. I guess. Right? You're allowed to swear on a live thing.
you'd be surprised. It seems to be getting better. Oh yeah, and shout out to Andreas Cerdas. We are also live on his channel. He, I guess, passed out and was unable to make it, but the whole relevance of why I bring this up, he did a stream earlier today with Dr. Shiva, and every second word out of the MIT professor slash inventor of email was F this, F that, and oh god, it was something else, but I highly recommend checking it out.
I said, MIT, when I be, you will see who am I whenever time I get on the MIC, right? And then I get high and Jeff's eyes bleed. I switch the bottle with my Visine. I'm in so high, I'm getting fly at night like I'm flying in that red eye. Into the depths of my mind of a Jedi. When I leave, the next I leave will never get right. I don't even then I breathe. Let me just get by, right? That's just what I do. Jodi seen me do it about a million times up in the booth, right? And Ken hasn't remembered it from 20 years, but that's like some other back in the day when we were really repping it and everything fell apart. So keep talking. We bring in this genius soft and shit like we were Steve Hawking. Ken's the best at the beatboxing, but me, I beat constant. We constant. We popped it. Lots of pills, always chill, got a thrill. If everyone want to die, well, that's why we just always kill. Right? I got a will that I wrote. I'm talking post Jaden Smith, pre-will. Don't save the ship. Go down with the captain. Post nasal drip, both razor slit experiment. You know it, man. I showed you when you hated it, but I just got unlocked inside of my own fucking matrix shit. No amazingness. No one made this. You know who it is, baby.
That was a mic drop. Right.
That's what we do. Huh?
Slices, dices, cuts, julienne fries, but wait, there's more.
There's always more. So now that I have a few different musical artists together and producers, I'd like to get your opinion on what you guys and gals use for sound engineering and for making music. Like, what programs do you recommend? They do most.
I would also love to know that.
Ableton. Ableton, flat out Ableton.
Word.
What about Serato?
Serato is not for making music, but it is fantastic for playing it.
I remember Pro Tools was really good back in the day.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's the only one.
Pro Tools was
I
good,
just
but
started using Reaper. I don't know if you know. It's like, it looks boring though. I just don't like how it looks. And I know that's like really silly to say.
Well, if you guys have been in the genre for a while, I mean, you'll remember Cubase and Nuendo, and then before that, you may even remember Cool Edit Pro.
And people still use FL like Fruity Loops, right?
Oh, Fruity Loops is still quite popular, yeah.
Right. But at the same time, they're like, it's free, but I'm like, do you really want to like use something that's, you know, you get what you pay for kind of thing? It's like, why would you kind of thing? But it's pretty much all the same, I guess, to some degree. Like, I got the Shure SM7D, and oops, snuck a rhyme in there. And and I guess if your mic is good enough, then does it really matter? Like, I don't know.
Right. Maybe it depends on what kind of music you're doing. If you're just buying tracks or getting producers to make your tracks and you're just focusing on tracking vocals, and yeah, pretty much any DAW or any platform is. I use Ableton, but Ableton. But I mean, you're right. If you have like a good microphone or a good preamp or something that you're running into that DAW and you're just kind of doing vocals, and maybe you send your vocals to some. Yeah, that's a great
I got this
unit.
one
That's
called Twin, and it's been hell.
I guess I should say this much about
Not that
that.
it sucks, or it's just that my motherboard wasn't compatible for like it has the TB2 port. Now I know how to build computers. I've learned all about this. I didn't even want to learn it, and I had to get a new circuit board that wasn't fully compatible with my motherboard, an adapter to make it from USB-C to old TB2 to a TB2 cord that you can only get from China. It took like a month, still doesn't work, and I'm broken hearted.
You do not make it easy.
Yeah, remember you were here, Bernie, when like I started trying with it. It's like I ordered all those different things. That guy Walmarson, he used to be, remember him, Ken?
Oh yeah,
A rapper a long time back. He used to hang with Wadewski and Lexington and them, and they came over to help me with it. But it's like I should have just bought a new computer. The amount of money I spent on this stupid adapter, this one cord, this one, I should have bought a computer. It's like,
Domino effect.
and then that's what you'll end up needing anyways.
Yeah.
Be like, no, we're not letting you upgrade.
I find another shortcut, then stacks up another 150, another 100. It's like,
It's obsolete. The next system's already out. All right.
But it said it would be backwards compatibility or whatever, but it just doesn't work. And it also sucks. I don't know if you guys ever seen that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Dennis has a mental health day where like everything's AI and it's just like apps and like, so Universal Audio only has AI. The site my buddy had got it for me on Musician's Friend also only has AI. I right now can't get my money off of TuneCore. I'm going to transfer my stuff to a different site, and it's only AI. And they say you can't get it because you need to contact Payoneer, which is like some weird other PayPal. They are also only AI. And when you eventually get through it all, it's like you need to talk to them. And it's like, "Choo," shuts it out. I was like, how was your conversation with Mike? And you're like, I need a human, please. I'm like, the chat's been closed. It's like, it's hell.
It's all AI.
It's the worst. It's like desperate.
Yeah. I guess I'm trying to find the program to be able to alter the frequency of the music or put.
That's right, and that's what I would think is the difference of like having a really good interface. Right now, I'm just using this like old school mixer Overbite gave me from like 1991 or something. But it's like if you have a really good mic, and I know that you have preamps, I'm still trying to learn what that means, I guess. And like, I don't know, it's a lot of knowledge to absorb, and I wish to kind of just, you should know everything, I guess, if you have a, you need to know it all, otherwise you're an idiot. Just a lot. I just want to rap. Someone give me a mic and let me do my thing. Oh, Jodi got way closer.
Yeah, kicked Justin out of his spot here and snuck in Justin's. So Justin uses.
Give us a little tour of the studio while we got you. Do a promo. Show us all the studio.
Oh, this isn't the studio. This is just Justin's little home setup here.
Okay.
Who's Justin?
He just went back upstairs there, but yeah, I'll have to do this stream again sometime from the studio. Give you a tour there.
Absolutely. We will do an episode specifically on that and try to plan something out to do a song or something.
It's all about earworms, is what I've learned. It's a great term, right? It's all like the frequency things you were talking about, right? It's like all the Kanye music and that Travis Scott concert, since you talked about conspiracy theories on here as well, right? It's like made people go into a rage and like it's insane. And even with all the ketamine treatment stuff I've been doing for people and myself and everything else, the frequencies literally brings you to different dimensions. And it's like it's still so confusing to me, I guess. But all the songs you always love, like the 808, I always thought 808 was just like a drum pattern, but it's actually, the different frequencies and they put it off by like 10 gigahertz or something. And
right? Have you seen the clip of Kanye talking about the 808?
Yeah, so cool. I had no idea. I just thought it was like the boom, boom, boom. But it's like, no, it's actually like produces serotonin when it's like on a different, both your headphones on. It's like, that's insane. And that's why all the songs you love are like have that. And it's like weird. It's like cool. It's like there's science to it. But you know what I mean? Sick.
Right. It's like 808 hertz, I think. Is that what they're talking about? Like
they put a balance off or something on your right to your left, and the 10 megahertz, the difference or whatever, like produces serotonin. Your brain produces serotonin from it. And pretty much, well, every single Kanye song has it. Like lots of other like artists, rap especially, and ED, like everything that's been computerized, I guess, all use it. And it's like Chainsmokers was like a
part
Chainsmokers.
Marilyn Manson's job. Like he quit making music, instead doing sound engineering for movies, and that there's these specific, like, I guess, sets of frequent, or I guess rhythms or something that like it'll just trigger
frequencies of vibrations.
Like,
right?
Yeah, the specific sets of it. It's weird, but yeah, it's that they program it in a way that the music subliminally triggers your emotion before it happens in the movie, sort of thing.
That's so cool. Like, it's still so confusing to me, like learning more about it, but it makes sense. Like, literally, pretty much every, like, even if it's a simple like EDM song that you love and you couldn't stop listening to it over and over. I've always been like that. Anytime you like a song, you like just play it 1,000 times and annoys everybody else in your house. It's like, no, I have to. But it's like your brain is like, it's not even you, it's your brain's like, I need it. Like, it's like pure happiness somehow. You know what I mean?
So I only want part of being an artist, where you have to play it over and over again to critique it and build it and perfect it and dissect it if we're listening to others' music that you love, right? You figure it out and try to make something similar, make it your own.
Yeah, one of these things that all music producers may know, if they've ever had anybody over where they're trying to write a track, is it kind of drives everyone else crazy. Unless you're the one sitting in front of the computer. Yeah, they're going to be like, would you stop playing that, please? You played it like 40 times. Why would anybody in the world ever need to do that? You're like, well, how else?
I love it. I
get
have
every part perfect.
So it always impresses me, producers that are able to make a beat, sit there for like 20 days on the loop of the basic version, then the next, and then also still rap on it. I'm like, how are you? You know what I mean? Then I'm like, full agreeing with that. Where it's like, how can you even get into the mood of like, yeah, I've listened to it 10,000 times. Now I'm ready to write. Like, you just be like, turn it off. Right? Remember, Jodi, me and you and Macom, we were freestyling that time and stuff. Right?
You're not wrong at all. It's a fine balance to walk when you're producing and writing and recording and engineering it all before the 10,000th time that you listen to it and you're like, okay.
But it sounds differently. Do you ever notice after 4 hours of doing any kind of like producing that you can't really listen to it if you do it it sounds different if you've done it for 8 hours. So you can only do it for 4 hours to reset your mind, so when you do it again, otherwise if you do it longer, do you ever notice that when you listen to it the first time you start working on the song again, it sounds totally different if you work longer than that length of time on a song?
Absolutely. Like that whole walking away from it and then coming back and listening to it with a fresh ear, as they say, is absolutely critical. And so it's a little bit different when you're sitting there refining effects and you're not actually playing the tracks. Like you take 30 minutes to build up an effect stack or something like that, so you can do post-processing, or you're setting up your compressors or your EQs or, any kind of that, like auto filters. So there's a lot that you can be doing in the meantime where you may be working on a track for 8 or 9 hours, but you only really heard it realistically for about 40 minutes of playtime total. But otherwise, I agree with you.
That reminds me of the funny thing I seen the other day. It said, I wish every time I had an annoying song stuck in my head, it was the whole song and not just the 2 lines that I hate from it. Right? It was like, just how your brain, it's like we're not able to, right? It's like, it's funny, right? Like,
the lower decks in the mind took the wrong information, and that's all that keeps you reminded. Yeah.
So we have how that works. Chat from Midcast. All my favorite bands mostly play in the same tuning, C. I found out later C is 432 hertz is ohm. I tuned my guitar to this years before learning this. And this brings me up to the subject of 432 versus 440. What's each of your opinions on this?
It's cool. It just shows that like the musical gift inside of you was already like feeling it or something, the frequency or whatever, it just already happened. And then that's why even me, like just thinking about all this extra stuff now, is like, oh cool. It's like there's a science behind it all. And it's like, I don't know, I guess reaffirms it, but like in a cool way. instead of just like your own
Try
delusion.
making music on 432 versus 440, or listening to the difference. That's something else I want to get into understanding better. Have any of you experienced or experimented with this at all?
Me, no. I'm sure Ken, like, so Ken, when you beatbox, would you say it's in a specific chord?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes to make sure that like when I'm doing a warm up or there'll be a specific I guess frequencies that once I reach them then it'll kind of
Lock in.
Go more. Yeah.
That's sick, right? That's cool to think about, right? Like just like your brain, yeah, like adapts to it. It's like poof, and it just happens.
Well, think about when you're like say if you're in a band and like the trumpets one person's out and then they all play the one tune and then you in sync in order to get that tune as well. I think that's kind of interesting that kind of gets you back. Oh, okay, that's the right one, and you get it when you hear the other.
The harmony of it is beautiful. Right?
Yeah,
that's why I've always loved barbershop quartet. Like, you know what I mean, old school like doo-wop, where like they all kind of like find a little room of like to stay in there, but still like completely different. You got the one guy hitting the full set layer.
Yeah,
right?
It's wicked.
Right? And Jodi's an incredible singer, and her sister as well. Where she sung the chorus of my song "Please Don't Tell Her."
Sorry, C-sharp.
Super talented family, and it's so cool because her and Macon had a kid. It's like now, like that kid will be the most musical person ever,
right? Especially with what Jodi was telling us, how she was playing the solfeggios into the while it was still in womb. And right,
I remember that,
third
actually.
and fourth generation musician, Jodi.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you say for something fourth generation? I just caught the end of that there.
Third or fourth generation. Oh, I know, because like your whole family plays.
Yeah, I was saying how you're gonna make this baby now will be the most musical like child ever.
Yeah, it probably goes back further than like fourth or fifth. I'm probably like a fifth generation musician. I think both my grandparents, great grandparents were artists, painters, piano players, stuff like that. But I kind of think we all are too at some deeper level, that we're all creatives, we're all artists. It's just whoever sort of was
brought up. Some people are better than others, and it does somehow get passed down. You're incredibly talented, right? Her and her sister used to always busk since they were like very young, right?
Practice makes perfect. So how many different instruments do you play, Jodi?
At one point, I played maybe 7 or 8, but now I'm mostly. Now it's just a few. But for a while there, we learned lessons in accordion, mandolin, trumpet, bass, guitar, harmonica, violin, and piano.
Yeah, no big deal. Just like every instrument.
Well, now I can, maybe
sick.
dabble on a couple of those, but mostly just play like 3 predominantly.
Well, also with having a studio, right, recording samples and stuff. That's fun.
Yeah, it's like the more colors you have to paint with. So the more instruments I have around me when I'm creating music, the better, because they can just sort of incorporate all these different things. You're not hindered by the different tools that you're limited to. You can just grab and, oh, there's a bongo there. Okay, get the bongo in. Okay, mic that, put that in there, and just, more paints.
I love that.
She loves Shambhala, so she loved the drum circle,
Would you be down for doing a little freestyle tonight, like jam session, or not another time?
Probably another time. I got like the baby just sleeping right next door. Actually,
get your priorities straight on the show.
Normally, yes, I would be, but I'm just like Justin's on dad duty right now, actually just consoling her. So probably can't quite rip out the harmonica at this point.
Fair. How's Macon doing, Jodi? I'm sorry, I know it's probably just like a personal conversation we should have, but how's he doing?
Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah, we're doing really good. We're just loving being.
You're always, that. I love you guys.
We love you too, man. It's good to see you.
Right? It's been a while, no doubt. And I only exist in black and white now. It's weird.
Gotta get a little color into your life.
Right? Yeah. Like you were saying, yeah, this is my painting. Right? So, all gray, grayscale.
Suits your person.
I know, for sure. I know. It's neat. I discovered years ago as well, my videos that I ever do are in black and white. Well, I think I discovered it or whatever. It's like when we watch other people, especially if you know them in real life and you see them like acting or in a music video and they're in color, it's just like you see they're just a person pretending. You see it in black and white and your brain is like, whoa, what is this world? Like the amount of fans I've met in my life is like, oh, you're hollohan. You're not real. It's like it just doesn't click or something like crazy. And it makes sense, right? Like in some way, it just does. So here I am.
I like that aspect for marketing.
Right.
It's like when I come out with DJ BurnEye slanders, it's like I'm just gonna enter in all of your guys's epic music into AI, so it remixes it. Then I'll just claim it as my own, but then I'll make sure that I'll also take everybody's faces and put it in as AI too, so we're all just cartoons.
You sound like the devil right now, brother.
Comes out in verses.
Go ahead.
Right.
Actually, Samson has an AI thing too. Chris Samson, I used to rap with him. Me and Pat and him were like a little rap trio as teenagers. And Samson has some AI program where if he wanted to make new Pat Stay songs, he can. Because he's like, there's that many words absorbed into it or whatever.
That's
which is
wild.
like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So Samson's gonna be rich real soon, I'm sure. So like it's so weird at the same time. It's just like when they did like the Tupac hologram stuff, and I thought that was gonna like change the game, but then it just kind of went away.
Well, see, I was like, what if we resurrect Tupac as the first true AI, and you just keep entering in every single Tupac data set into an AI, and then when it's like they come out with option of like who's the first one we bring back, just bring back Tupac.
I feel like that's what they kind of tried to do, and then it just went away. Like
the AI version will start cussing everybody from Nas to Jay-Z to everybody else, and Mobb Deep while remaining members.
Yeah.
It'll never end.
Oh God, the Diddy thing, the Diddy scandal.
I got to rhyme with that. That's it's not about what P. Diddy did or what he didn't do. I mean, they clumsy and puffy. They got Pac shot and then dropped Biggie too. He thought he'd never get caught like pissing in a swimming pool. Along came R. Kelly. I guess there's exceptions to every rule. Right?
I like that.
Yeah,
that was rugged.
Yep. And a 90s icon, so to speak, O.J. Simpson recently died. So
yeah, he was like yesterday, cancer, right?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Apparently, there's a screenshot of what was supposedly like a post from him on his like Twitter or something before he died, saying like a confession that he did it, and then the family deleted it.
That's sick. Actually. That'd be so sick.
Not sure if it's true. My buddy is supposed to send it to me.
Lately, I was watching Redacted News on Rumble, and it's like the sickest, like no narrative pushing news. And they don't do a lot of celebrity stuff, but like I feel like I would have heard of the O.J. Simpson thing, but that'd be sick just because like it was so obvious. Like when he did that book and everything, it's like and that'd be sick. Actually, that would like make me actually like him, I guess.
It's kind of strange. I haven't heard anything about that since my buddy like called me after.
There's probably some little deep fake thing or whatever.
Right? Like
that'd be cool. Actually, that'd be sick. That would actually like die with some respect.
What's interesting is he was originally going to be the Terminator before Schwarzenegger.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know.
I know. Just useless facts. Anyway, sound. Haha. Oh.
Right back to sound music. Sound. What about the sounds all of you are doing this summer? Maybe Jodi, we'll start off with you. What are your plans? You guys doing festivals, events? What you got going on?
Yeah, we're gonna play Frenzy Fest, and we're gonna play Wicked Woods, and a few other little festivals. I think as Mantisa I'm not booking a whole lot of Jodi B shows at the moment, just releasing a song a month. I wanted to commit to that for all of 2024. Just release a song a month for. I was inspired by The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, that book he wrote, and talking about how when you write a song, you're emotionally invested in it at that moment because that's what you're going through in your life, or you're just closer to that than if you were to wait months or years and then releasing that song and maybe you've moved on from that part in your life. You can't promote or push that song out with as much authenticity because you've moved on from that part of your life, and that it's important to release music or create art without other people's perceptions of it in mind, and to do it for yourself and as a creative energy and a flow if you want more of it in your life, to give and release more of it. So I've just decided for all of 2024 to release a song a month. So I'm just doing that mostly just for me and just for like a creative outlet to stay accountable. And
Do you release
Yeah.
each one of them, or do you just do it and done?
do I release each one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been independently releasing each one of them.
Because
Yeah,
that whole concept is the best, obviously, and I clearly struggled with that forever. I didn't put "Please Don't Tell Her" out till like 7 years later after I recorded it with your sister.
well, we're all perfectionists, right? And we're always learning as well, so it's really hard. And especially like you were saying, right? When you're recording this song, when you're producing it, when you're engineering it, you're constantly evolving your skills. And then you go back and you revisit a mix that you worked on 3 months ago. Well, your skills have already progressed so much since then. You got to apply what you've learned now, and it's never ending. So I always love that saying. It says art is never really truly finished. It's just abandoned. Right? Like every now and then you get a song and you're like, okay, it is good, it's perfect, it's ready to go out there. But most of the time there's always something, right? So you kind of just have to let it go, let it flow.
Always. And I have always struggled with that, obviously. I have 1,000 songs written, choruses, a million verses, never finished them. I had an album I was supposed to release 8 years ago called Perfectionism and Procrastination, The Deadly Duo. I never finished it. You want to know why?
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy right there. But what you said is very beautiful, on point, Jodi, and that's epic that you're pushing yourself to do one a month, but for yourself as like an artist. The worst thing you can do is have to make or produce for someone else, right? It has to be under your own inspiration. And also, like you said, you can't leave it because I have like 3 or 4 albums of 3 or 4 different artists from back in the day when I had recording and whatnot from 15 years ago, and now trying to talk to people today about coming back and finishing it. They're like, no, it's like that music's so in the past, and so I'm on to this other stuff. It's like it's no longer my style. And it's like, right, you've moved on. You have to put it forward, put it out in that moment, in that time, while it's still representative of where you are in your life.
Totally. Yeah. When Rick Rubin said that in that book, I highly recommend it for anyone who hasn't read it yet, but it's called The Creative Act. And yeah, it's just such a valid point, right? Like you're just so emotionally invested in a piece of your diary, a piece of this lyricism or whatever you've created. And then, years go by. Well, you're not there anymore in your life. And so you can't really put that out with the same sincerity that you did when you wrote it.
Which sucks, and that haunts me. Even like the last video I did 6 years ago called Too Many Second Chances. The new one I'm finally going to do is called Too Many Second Chances Part 2. And it's just like, it's a curse. It's like, don't be so hard on yourself. Just like, do it, put it out, just grow up, right? It's like what are you looking for to, it's done, move on. And all creative people, I think too, our struggles is for most, definitely me, will work on a million things and then never finish anything. Right?
Yeah.
Like it says, you need to know this is the one we're doing. We're going to finish that, and then it's like it's done. On to the next. Otherwise, you'll sit there with a million open folders, pretty much, and your Word document on the lower screen, and be like, "Oh, I'm working on it." Right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. The one that I just released in March, I had it sitting on my desktop for a couple years, but
Yeah.
I wrote on it, and when I wrote on it, it was very fresh, very vulnerable, and I mispronounced one word in it, and I wanted to go back and change that word so bad, but I just knew that if I went back and recorded on it, I wouldn't have had the same sort of expression I did, the same sort of feeling in my voice that I did when I did it like that. So I just decided to keep that
Right. And
mess
that's the
up in
best
there. And
example ever there, right? It's like the fact that you as the creative is like that one word.
yeah,
And like, do you really think anyone else in the fucking world would be like, the song's really good, but the way she pronounced theater instead of, it's like, no, or it's like, it'll never happen. It's just, but that's our curse, right? Of our insecurities. That's what it is, right?
Perfectionists.
Yeah.
Then it's your art, your
Yeah.
craft. They'll
It
do
sucks
that.
though. I'm so jealous of people that are like constantly just like boom, boom, boom. Most of, the most famous rappers ever, a lot of them were horrible, but it's because consistency is key. Like, people just want someone new to listen to. If you're active, it just, all the algorithms and everything too, it's part of it. If you don't do it, it's just, you're nothing. It's tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Always wanting, demanding, producing something new and fresh in the moment.
yeah, always
tough.
walking this fine line of caring what everybody thinks and also not giving a fuck what anybody thinks.
It's hard, right? It's hard.
Right? Well said. That's exactly it. Because it's like you have to operate within the boundaries and norms of society to be able to like be successful and have it's like just accepted, played, and liked, or be relatable essentially, and promotable, while simultaneously having to be free spirited and in your own like conscious like
And
free
like, is it
will
even allowed
expression.
anymore on YouTube? Especially, that's the thing too. I guess. Like, I was listening to a lot of old Eminem today, and it's like, would you even be allowed to rap like that now? And like tell stories about killing your wife with your baby in the car and blah blah. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Like, not a
no,
chance.
no,
I mean,
no.
that stuff is
Like, no way.
but like,
We're, oh god, I can't even remember what you're supposed. What? Oh, I can't. You're not allowed to say like suicide or murder or he ended himself or something stupid. It's just so ridiculous.
This is cool when I watch this other channel on YouTube, and I can't say the word on here. We'll probably all get banned. But all that thing goes around called the coof. Right? It's like, that's what's only allowed to be referred to on YouTube. And I was like, oh, that's funny, because it also like relates to the word like cool. And like, it's like, nah, that's funny to me. But there's lots on YouTube. That's why Rumble's sick, man. I know it's only starting to really get going, but eventually it doesn't matter on what side you're on. Everybody wants the truth, kind of thing.
Yeah, so
You know?
our Friday night freestyles will definitely be on Rumble. So it'll be no holds bars and no worries of censorship. But we're on YouTube friendly tonight. Ken, do you want to give us another ominous style?
Yes. I'll try to do something a little faster. Oh, better stop. Back to you, Burn.
All right. Thank you, sir. That's dope.
Hell yeah.
Always amazing. You got any shows coming up, good Ken, or anything planned for the summer?
For the summer, yeah, there'll be a few with what's going on with True Rhythm. They're doing their annual thing with Redman and Method Man and DJ Premier. So that would be really cool to get up on that set.
Epic. That's dope. When's that happening?
Sometime July. Yeah.
Beat or something.
Yeah, it'll be at the back alley. So that'll be pretty hype.
Nice.
And I don't know anything in between. I'm just winging it for now. So whatever comes my way.
Fair deal. Well, we will be doing more of these, and we will also be doing a lot more streams. I'm going to be doing a bunch of educational art pilot projects once set up from the silk screening studio. Also going to be doing like video editing streams, essentially, as well as working with AI art and hopefully music production and engineering. And hopefully we can get Jodi and Justin and Jeff all involved in that as well. Maybe I'm gonna probably cut it off at an hour and a half tonight instead of 2 hours. Guys, girls, have anything like to promote or discuss before we're done? Oh, yes, Jodi had to come out of the bathroom.
Well, I guess I'll just mention what I'm working on here as a final. Here in the lab, we're taking on a very interesting project. We'll be using ultrasound to oscillate ions up and down along a linear path, but then we'll have a synchronized magnetic field that oscillates with an AC input at the exact same frequency as the ultrasound drivers. So what we will effectively do is produce clockwise and anti-clockwise motion of the cyclotron rotation for these charged particles. And that should produce a gravitational wave capable of moving small objects or anything placed directly above where the nodes of the field lines cross.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah,
I love
that.
Yeah.
Being that, hopefully we'll be able to do a live demo.
Get some
that is the idea.
Jeff, you got any shows coming up or any projects you're working on there? Any plans?
I always say I do, but then I never do anything. But like this time, I think I will. As soon as I get that interface working, and that's it. I have thousands. Like it's a shame, and I will. So like immediately got this good camera. As soon as this is hooked, even like how does this mic sound right now? Like wouldn't this be good enough? Like that's why I get confused. I guess about like, do you really need this special interface? Like, does it really make a difference?
Pretty decent. It's not bad at all. I'd say good enough to come back and do Freestyle Fridays next Friday.
For sure. It's just that's what it is. I'm inventing excuses, I guess, to like not do productive things. Right. I would think. Like, I don't know. Right? It has to be something. Right? Do you really need the Apollo twins? Like, I don't even know what it does.
I mean, well, in terms of a studio setup, USB audio interface is going to give you extremely low latency, which is actually important when you're doing inline or live processing. So say you wanted to add an effect to your voice, or you wanted to use echo reduction or other things like that. Well, most audio sound cards are going to be like 5 milliseconds to 15 milliseconds. That's your normal built-in or on-chip sound cards. But some of these newer USB-based sound cards, which is kind of like the quintessential starting point of any music production software or studio setup, is it's going to give you that external processing power that's solely dedicated just to making your sound better and putting that at a higher bandwidth and bit rate. So those will help because you can reduce latency down to like about 1/10 the time that you can do in your internal sound. And that means you can actually hear your live effects as they're happening, and it won't drive you nuts because you're not hearing yourself like a half a second later. You're hearing yourself almost in real time.
Which to me is like all of my most famous videos I ever did, like Lost Love and Addiction, It's All Behind Me, all this one take live to the camera.
I was there for that.
Right? Yep.
Yeah. What's up, Hollow?
What's up, my brother? I miss you, Brent, man. How you doing?
I miss you too, bro. I just jacked Jody's spot while she feeding the baby.
Yeah,
we'll see all the boys. All right. Right on.
All right, glad to have you on, brother.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to be doing this more often. And if you haven't heard, I just got a new warehouse. I somehow managed to, I don't know, the universe loves me, and I got a free warehouse deal to set up my silk screening again, and I'm going to be setting up an art studio there as well. And it's connected to a coffee plant, and well, it's.
Oh, is it? That's funny. I didn't, because I know you didn't work in there. That's funny. That's how it got linked.
Yeah. So okay, somehow the weed, THC, CBD coffee business went bankrupt, and then somehow BurnEye scammed the same warehouse for free. And yeah, that's gonna be good. Well, it's not necessarily for free. I still have to do orders, do the guys' orders in exchange for the space. But I will be setting up to do podcasts and probably maybe even turn it into like private paid lessons or something eventually, where we're doing art streams of both learning like digital design, music editing, graphic design, and
laser
video.
tag. Can you do laser tag if you got a warehouse?
If you don't, we're upset.
Yeah.
Definitely can probably. There will be lasers. I can guarantee lasers.
Can they tag? That'd be
Yes.
sick. Oh,
If you got the best.
Yeah,
Just
you got the
like the
vest.
boys.
You got vests.
We got the
I
best.
got lasers if you got vests.
We are. Yeah.
You find the good ones. See if we still got it.
I was
Anyway.
just saying, make them. I'm finally putting in a new video. Too many second chances, part 2. Oh, too many second chances. ... Part 2. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
well, I'll say a funny line or something like, I went from drug lord to scum poor. You should see the disgusting things that I still keeping in my junk drawer. I'm the type of guy you run from, not come for. Too many second chances was 6 years ago. Come on, guys, one more. Like, right?
Dude, so much has been learned since then. I haven't even seen you. You've just been a barbarian Viking on your voyages, man.
I know.
You look good.
Thank you, brother. So you, man, how's the father life going for you?
Yeah, it completely changed everything, but in a really good way. In a good way I couldn't expect.
Your face looks great.
Yeah, I just got that kind of. It comes and goes, but
That's funny.
Balance. But you know what's really funny about music with it is like, music has always just been like the one thing I was kind of like naturally good at. You know what I mean? I tried like 1,000 other things. I always felt like I had to work like so much harder than like the next guy just to have what the next guy has. But like music worked. Love it for that. And but as soon as Ruby was born, it was like, there's something else I love more than music. I didn't think that was possible, like more than anything else.
Pat always said too when he was like, because you know,
it just happens just like that too.
Jade, remember Jade?
Yeah, of course.
We were there for Thanksgiving dinner that time, and
yeah, man.
And you know that whole thing. They, you know, I haven't seen Jade now in many years, but like, and Pat was taking care of Laura at the time. And then he eventually had Calvin, like his own kid, and he was like, "Trust me, Jeff, man. Like once you get that, it'll change the way you look at everything, right?" And it's like clearly that's, you know what I mean.
So you just gotta kind of surrender to it, but you know, there's like a balance that grows back, like stronger than before. Definitely breaks you down, but in a good way.
No doubt. But it's like in a way that you need to grow, kind of thing, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I'm proud of you, brother.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know. I always think about you all the time. I was just like, I just send him all the beats. I have like 1,000 new beats I should send you. Like,
dude, man, I just finally got an Apollo 20.
Next Friday and do this all again with us with our Freestyle Fridays. And maybe we'll commit
to freestyle too, by the way.
Freestyle Fridays?
Yeah.
Make them freestyles. Over by when you impressed them that one time, we're all freestyle, remember? And you said something about there's like everything I'm clearly saying is in English, just Aramaic, and he always brings it up still.
I do? Oh,
Yeah.
Because of my eyebrows.
Just the background. No, he just loved it. Just like, just
Yeah.
thoughts outside the box. Right? It's just, Oldby's doing good too. Actually, he was just over the other day. We freestyled again. It's crazy. I've got like 10,000 hours of mine in his freestyle sessions.
That's sick.
It's a full-time job just to go through them.
Yeah, I know. That was so crazy. I wish we could have just laid them down.
I know. I suck at
It
that.
is what it is.
But I mean, perfectionism, procrastination. That
I hear that.
Nothing.
You know, it's a really good book. Have you read Rick Rubin's book?
No, I never heard of it either. Actually,
It's called,
just telling us.
The Creative Act. It's a good one. It's a good one for just like releasing stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's like
No, she was just saying it, but like the 1 month or song a month thing. And it's like, and that's what we used to always say too. Is like just do it, get it done, boom. That's why I asked her too. I was like, "Are you releasing everything, or is it like?" And she's like, "I am," but it's like Overbite always says to me too. Like, don't worry about having to release it. Just do it, finish it. That's done. Move on. Right? Don't put the pressure on it that it needs to be the best thing in the world, kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
And, just do it. Stop being a loser, pretty much. Like,
Yeah. I didn't mean to add. Who's Exotic Propulsion? This little eye emoji. That guy rules.
What's that?
Yeah, that guy rules. I didn't mean. I kind of derailed the conversation when I came in, but I was like, that was. What are you guys talking about? I just realized it's like something that says science is sound.
Well, I mean, we've been, I guess, everybody's kind of gone on to their own thing, right? We're talking about music production, which has to do with sort of the culture of sound and the technology behind it, but it's all about the science of sound. Basically, what can we do with sound? What does it actually mean in culture, in the etymology? What does it mean in terms of how it affects us psychologically, physiologically? What does it mean in terms of our industry, and how can we reduce noise pollution, various things like that, or what could we use sound for in interesting ways that we've never thought about, like we talked about earlier, producing gravitational waves, or basically using it to separate particles by mass. You can do a lot of things with sound that people don't really think about, including cut stone. So lots of very fantastic applications that are not currently used that could be if we really put a primary technological focus on developing sonic devices.
Word.
Straight up. All right. Well,
Nick knows all about that. What he does for a living. You never heard of stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I use like
they change church.
Yeah. I've made a couple of different sounds. I use sounds from everywhere, to be honest. But I love records still just sample records all day and try to make new shit too. But I don't know. The realer it is, I like more real instruments now.
Oh, sorry, when you asked earlier, Bernie, that's the next thing I'm doing, Nick. I think is a good idea too. Well, I got my website done finally. I'm doing my merch thing. It looks really dope. We'll have to talk later. I got to go out after this actually. And I'm going to release Lost, Love, and Addiction and Help Me Till They Die on vinyl.
That's fire.
That'd be cool. Right?
Having a record of your own shit is so sick.
Right?
It sounds so cool.
Right? I don't know. For an idea of something to sell, I was like, that's cool. They just actually opened up a record store, like only vinyl records on 130th in Calgary. And it's like so random. Like I didn't even think that was a thing anymore. But like crazy.
I had a merch idea. My merch idea. Have you heard about like Gwyneth Paltrow's like vagina candle that she released?
That's where the ultimate sound comes from.
Imagine the same thing, but it's just like the bros candle. It's just like a candle that smells like ball sweat, but like it's only for the hardcore fans. Like you gotta like burn the whole candle right to the bottom, and then there's like a QR code that you scan and you get like the record. But you have to go through the candle first to get to it.
Wait. Yeah, you gotta wait. Actually, there was a candle that smells like burnt candle. My buddy had.
Mine is
and that's smell, not sound. My apologies, but like,
yeah,
but like, it's just funny. Any idea, I guess, like that is like it's cool. We're always doing that. That's sick. That's funny.
It's called getting funky. It's when you're in the studio for 5 days and don't shower. Get the funk.
Get that funk.
That affects sound too. That affects sound. Yeah, man. Something about the.
So yeah, you're getting somewhere when the studio starts to smell like a gorilla cage.
Yep.
Justin, you're doing Frenzy Fest and Wicked Woods. When are those this year?
Your guess is as good as mine right now, brother.
All right.
That's how far ahead I am. I just heard the dates today, someone said, but they're in the summer. I can look it up right now, but
We'll have to talk
kind of
about that later. Those are the two festivals I was planning on approaching on doing their merch and getting vending at. So hopefully I will see you there.
jump on.
Well,
They
thanks.
will.
Thanks,
It's the
boys.
best. I'm glad that one's going. I'm glad I'm
Right?
just hit.
It's
Very
fun.
It'll be a good one.
I just did that Altitudes Festival in Kelowna. Church played there last weekend. You know what Altitudes is? It's like a winter festival. It's pretty sweet. It's like just ending like the season of Big White. So it's kind of like the last hurrah on the mountain. And people it's pretty cool. You mix like winter sports and then raving. But they set up like a stage and it's pretty sick. But we played at Snowshoe Sam's. I don't know if you know that club, but it's like the only bar up there. It's it sells out every time. You don't even have to announce a show or anything. Yeah, just like me, like 400 the drunkest like people ever. But you jumped on. Do you know who Elderbrook is? The guy that does this Coca-Cola song. I don't know. I didn't know him.
I do know Elderbrook.
Yes, you guys kind of look alike. Actually, now that I think about it, that's funny. Yeah, you do. But he ended up jumping in for like the last 25 minutes after us on the set. He just like showed up.
And you're like, oh, man, what are you doing here?
He didn't know how to use CDJ 3000s. Me and Jeff showed him how to use them. It was super funny. But he's like this crazy talented multi-instrumentalist I didn't even know about. But anyway, he bodied it. But yeah.
Awesome. As long as you're keeping at it, man. As long as you're keeping at it. That's the main
just got to keep the blood flowing. Just got to stay on the chops, you know, trying to stay healthy.
Freestyling too. Do you ever when's the last time you freestyled, brother? All
the time. I try. I'm always writing a lot too.
You down to close this session out with the freestyle?
All good, man.
Or you go back next Friday for Freestyle Friday.
I'll do it. I just hear my baby crying in the next room. I just don't want to say
that baby next. It doesn't matter. This is a bunch of excuses from make them deaf. I hit it as sharp as a razor's edge. Don't ever try to tell me you can't face your death. Here I am. Right?
All right.
He's like, this is why I don't freestyle.
All right, here I go. I'll do one thing.
Oh, nice.
All right. The quote him like the Raven when he spoke to Edgar Allan. Said, I've been waiting for this moment. Now my patience valid. No matter what kept me from harm when them weapons is drawn. From streets of filthy where the death and depression is strong. The section is calm when I flex and it wrecked like a bomb went. Off in the hood where the buildings infected with hauntings. Apparitions and dead poets walking them hallways. They ghost right on the Ouija board locked in the crawlway. The mortician, the sinister souls wicked, administer cold chills, the spirit Lenore's visits. My prayers to the dead in the hopes that the Lord with them, and the ones that have wronged you have swiftly been shown vengeance. This is for all my wandering authors who conjure art macabre, to call and seance, see the flicker of their souls and ours. Support him like the raven when he entered darkened chambers. This the section of the story where the plot is stranger.
Where the plot gets strangers. I'm the reason that your parents tell you not to talk to strangers because you're all endangered, right? Until extinction finally comes, because I am the one. So why don't you just walk away, bro? Like you said, the mortician. I didn't think that I was so morbid, but this is my fourth visit. Why am I here? And I think that you're listening. This is the way that everyone has the Lord gifted. I used to think that the Lord didn't listen, but now I know the pure difference. And this is that raw, intricate shit that y'all spitting, and I am. Here I am, the highest, when I've been missing my old fine friends when I tried to find him. Here he is. His name's Jodi B. Just joking, just make him deaf, but this is all on my screen. Right.
Yeah. So,
respect. Love you, brother. I gotta head up to
Love you too.
It's always good seeing you guys.
Yeah, you too, Ken. It's crazy, man. It's so funny. We haven't seen each other since we were like 21, bro.
Yeah, man. That's like 20 years ago.
It's insane.
That's exactly 20 years ago.
Shit. We're getting old.
We all look cool.
Get back to being a parent, and we will talk again very soon. And we'll do a full episode with just you and Jodi and shout showcasing the epic studio that you guys have built and are doing.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're able to come back next Friday, if not next Friday, a Friday very soon, and we will do a full Freestyle Friday.
How did Jodi land in this fucking crackpot of top elite staunch bros? It's crazy. I'm like, what the hell? She's like, look, I got hollohan on the line. I'm like, what the hell? I can't even find the guy. He can't be traced. He's completely off grid. It's crazy.
It's a fake room.
You're in the black and white. I'm like, yeah, this is like probably I've been laughing. This is probably pre-recorded. It's just like, huh.
It is grayscale. No Game of Thrones grayscale, but like kind of.
Yeah. You're just on some weird,
It's like AI generated hollohan.
Whatever, the psychic hollohan.
Yeah.
The future writer just writes so far in the future, right? You know, so all this recorded. Anyway. Peace, brothers.
I'm gonna just hit the quick little exit or outro, and then if you want to hang out and chat privately after the stream ends, by all means. Catch up.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.
See you later.
Peace. Bye from Jodi.
Later.
Together, exotic proportion.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just BurnEye. Hey, BurnEye, just like last week, huh?
Weekend at BurnEye's.